traps to go out and.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, and then every year they request, $20 an hour. They request people to do trapping surveys and that type of stuff, but,
Like
and
a
that's,
second job, maybe.
yeah. So, and that's separate from this, but.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll call it. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion's carried. Letter is hereby approved. ACLD.
Yeah, so then the second one was the ACLD Federal Recreation Trail Program grant application. And this is just a looking for a resolution supporting the grant application that will be submitted for the ACLD. I know you guys have seen these, or the board has seen these before, where Aitkin County is the sponsor of an application that goes in. Just last year, the Mille Lacs Snowmobile Club had an application that went in to buy a new Polaris Ranger on tracks. That was actually funded. So this one is actually for the Aitkin County Land Department. And what we're seeing is on a lot of our ATV trails, a lot of encroachment with brush that's coming in along the sides, and it's never easy to get that brush trimmed back. So we started looking at possible equipment options and what would be out there that could do that. And we actually got a hold of a company called the Limb Beaver that actually has a mower that will attach to a skid steer or a bobcat. That actually will tilt and can raise up and is something that would be suitable for trimming back those trails. So we looked at an FRTP grant being a possible fit for that. It just so happened that in 2027 we had also budgeted the purchase of a new skid steer. So we're hoping to actually package these together where the grant would pay for the purchase of a new skid steer as well as the brush cutter. And then the money that we had budgeted for that skid steer would then be used as match for the FRTP grant. So at this time, just looking for a resolution supporting that grant application.
I got a question.
Yes, Commissioner Sample?
How much do you think that skid steer is gonna cost us?
We had budgeted $75,000 way back when. We're pricing them out right now in that $75,000 to $90,000, and then the brush cutter attachment is right around $30,000. So we're anticipating a grant application to be a total cost of somewhere between $100,000 and $150,000, and then Aitkin County Land Department then providing a 50% match on it, or something similar to that.
Okay, thank you.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion on the floor to set effect by Commissioner Westerland. Support?
Support.
Commissioner Sample supports that motion. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion's carried.
All right.
And I understand you got some good news for us here?
Yeah, and then we'll keep you posted on that application. It would be nice to have it funded. It is a 2027 expenditure, but. So then the last item I have is award a contract for the construction of the Mille Lacs ATV Trail. We had sealed bids that were opened at 10 a.m. on Tuesday, February 17th, for the construction of the Mille Lacs ATV Trail. We actually had 4 companies that had submitted bids. There's a bid tally sheet there. You can see what some of those bids are, but we actually had a couple reasonable bids and one of them that was very reasonable. So we're looking at awarding that contract to Big Wolf Siteworks LLC. They're a company out of Taylor's Falls. And they had actually, we had called them up and spoke with them after the bid opening, and they had just completed a trail construction up on the North Shore. So they are familiar with that type of work and have completed that type of work. So at this point in time, looking for a resolution to award that construction bid in the amount of $639,200 $286.78 to Big Wolf Site Works.
I got a question before
Yeah.
I entertain a motion. There's such a disparity between the bids. Did you make sure that everything was included in the low bid?
Yeah, we did.
There's a term for that. John, what is that term? Validating or just making sure that everybody,
Right. Yep, and we saw that with the first round of biddings, and the engineering firm Widseth did make some calls and did reach out, and
nothing was missing.
nothing was missed. Nope, there was a minor error on the original bid was 644 from Big Wolf, and it got dropped down to 639 just with an error that was done in the tabulations, but otherwise everything was in line.
Great. Commissioners?
I'll make a motion to approve, finally.
Motion to approve by, a low bid by Commissioner Westerland, support.
Support.
And that motion supported by Commissioner Sample. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll call the question. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion's carried. Thank you on that, DJ.
Yeah, yep, that's all I had, and I do have a couple if anybody wanted to see what that brush mower looked like, I have some handouts here if
Yeah,
anybody wanted to see. They're actually for tractor, excavator, as well as skid steers.
Yeah, we have one. We've had it for quite a while, though. I don't know. Oh,
Does it work good?
Gaylord loved it. Got all the brush everywhere. Yep.
yeah, yeah. It raises a flag. Thanks very much, DJ.
Thank you, commissioners.
On to County Engineer John Welly. Welcome, John.
Thank you and good morning. So typically, by the time we're ready to open bids on a project, the board has heard about that project numerous times with our 5-year planning. Typical project is in our 5-year plan for at least, if not 5, close to 5 years. And then every year I also bring a resolution to the board, a schedule of contracts. It's not a resolution, it's just a schedule of contracts that we intend to open bids on in the upcoming calendar year. So last, gotta get my paperwork right here. So last September, I brought you the 2026 schedule of highway maintenance and construction contracts that we anticipated to open bids on during the 2026 construction season. So the reason I'm before you today is that we'd like to add a project to that listing. This is a project that didn't go through our 5-year planning process, and it wasn't even on our schedule last September when you approved our 2026 schedule. What the project is it's a highway safety improvement project. After another fatal crash last year on County Road 11 at 169, where a vehicle on our county road didn't stop for the stop sign, proceeded through the intersection at full speed, hit a vehicle on the main line, and there was a fatality last June, like I said, on County Road 11. This is kind of a pattern. We've got 3 intersections in particular that have been pretty bad for fatal crashes resulting from vehicles just not only failing to stop for the stop sign, but just blowing through the stop sign really at full speed. You know, they're not even aware that there's a cross street and they go through the intersection full speed. There's 3 intersections that we've historically had a problem with. County Road 10 up by Jacobson at the intersection of Trunk Highway 200. That intersection has seen multiple fatalities from traffic, southbound traffic, mainly on our County Road 10, just missing the stop sign, going through the intersection and causing a fatal crash. In addition to the fatal crashes up at that intersection, there's been numerous other instances of vehicles going through the intersections, through that intersection, resulting in just property damage or minor injuries. One of the incidents we even caught on our camera. We have a shop right there at that intersection. We caught it on the camera, and just supposedly distracted drivers, I guess, just blowing through the intersections. County Road 3 is another intersection, County Road 3 at 169. Most recently, I think it was 2024, eastbound vehicle, double fatality that time, failed to stop, hit a vehicle that was on the main line. And then, like I said, last year on County Road 11, we had that crash in June that resulted in a young mother of 4 or 5 that were all in the vehicle being killed when the vehicle failed to stop for the intersection. And on County Road 11 in particular, just the previous year, not even 12 months prior, there was another crash. Same thing, vehicle going through the intersection. They hit a vehicle from out of state. I think it was Wisconsin. It could have very well been a fatality. It was a pretty major injury. But luckily it wasn't a fatal. But even since that fatal crash last June on County Road 11, we've had eyewitness accounts, people calling, saying another vehicle went through the intersection, full speed. Luckily, didn't hit anybody. There was no car there to hit. But we're having a problem with getting vehicles to stop at our intersections. It's frustrating because we have so many warnings out there. In most cases, we have double stop signs. We have larger stop signs, 48-inch instead of 36-inch. In a lot of cases, we have double stop ahead signs, enlarged stop ahead signs, 48-inch instead of 36-inch. We've got stop ahead pavement markings. We've got a stop bar. We've got signage that says there's a cross highway coming up, junction 169. There are just so many indicators out there for motorists to stop, and yet we continue to have these instances where they don't. So after last June's fatal crash down on County Road 11, as always happens after these fatal crashes, I talk with the MnDOT traffic engineer, just trying to figure out what happened, what we can do to prevent a similar crash in the future. And the thing that we started talking about last year was, it's a new concept. From what we can tell, it hasn't been used. If ever, we can't find an instance where it's been used on the stop leg of an intersection. But basically, creating a constrictor lane. So as you're approaching the intersection, the lanes are 11 to 12 feet wide. On our highways, we don't use rumble strips, so you have an edge line and you have a center line. And as you approach the intersection, you should see all this signage that I described. You should see the pavement markings, the stop ahead, the stop bar. All of that is already in place. But what the constrictor lanes now will do is once you hit that stop ahead sign, which is about 800 feet from the stop sign, the lane will start to narrow. It'll narrow down to 10 feet with a fairly gradual taper. So once that lane is tapered down to 10 feet, there'll be the geometrics of the 3 intersections that we're doing vary a little bit, but the commonality is that on all of them there'll be approximately a 200-foot segment once that lane narrows to 10 feet, where the motorist will be on this 10-foot lane, a center line stripe to the left with a rumble strip, edge stripe to the right with a rumble strip, and that will then proceed until the stop sign. So the thought is that if distracted drivers are approaching the intersection, not paying attention, hopefully they'll not be able to navigate that narrow lane and will hit a rumble strip and will become aware of the stop sign. I said that these constrictor lanes have not been used on the stop leg of intersections, and that's true. They have been used on the through legs of intersections. I think MnDOT installed similar constrictor lanes, very similar to what I described on the through legs of intersections. I think a good example is probably State Highway 6 by Rutgers at Crow and County Road 14. If you go there, you'll see the constrictor lane, and it's pretty much what I described So, there's kind of, there was that standard that they've used to glean from, but otherwise, we're kind of setting the standard here, doing something that really, there isn't a lot of guidance out for it. There isn't a lot of, engineering studies or that sort of thing, which is a little uncomfortable as you're trying to design something and there just isn't a lot of guidance. We're used to there being a lot of research, a lot of guidance out there, a lot of standards. So this is fairly new. We studied it all winter. We did a lot of design iterations on it to become comfortable with it. But I think we're at the point now where the construction plan is over at MnDOT, awaiting state aid approval. And once we get that approval, we want to open bids with it, for it, along with our annual pavement striping contract. And so basically then would bring a contract back to award, and sometime during 2026, we would place these constrictor lanes at those 3 intersections, 4 legs total on the 3 intersections. County Road 11 is just a single leg, County Road 10 is just a single leg, and then County Road 3 is both the eastbound and the westbound legs. But we're doing it kind of as a pilot project. I know a lot of the safety folks in the state are interested in it. We've even talked about putting cameras up, doing research on it once they're installed, so we'll see where all of that goes. But I wanted to bring it to this board mainly because, like I said, we never open bids on a project that you haven't approved, so this needs to be added into the schedule. But I also just wanted to, make sure you're aware of what the project will accomplish, because it may be the sort of thing that generates, comments from the public of, what the heck is this? We haven't seen this before. What are you doing? What are you trying to accomplish? So just wanted you to be aware of it and have your approval of it before we move forward with it.
Commissioner Westerland?
So John, I know brush cutting, if you can't see when they're coming to the stop sign, what's really out there, that is so important. And I know I know the state is horrible at it, because our road 47, that grows up and it's a huge swamp. You can't see anybody coming from the south. And same with the Glen Store. There are trees blocking the whole intersection, and people are coming and going, and then you got buildings you gotta sneak up to, but people on 47 don't care. They just cruise. So I know that's really, really important that the state needs to understand. They need to brush cut some of them intersections that are really bad. We've called them several times for that big swamp on 47 because you can't see.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. We meet annually with
job.
MnDOT to go over the construction program in the county that they propose each year, and I always bring up the point. I ask them to do what we do on our county roads. If we're resurfacing a road that has brush growing in too close, or that hasn't been cleared of trees for 50 years and has a lot of trees growing up in the right of way, we'll include clearing of the right of way in a resurfacing project, and we get some heat from that from people. People love trees. That's the thing about trees. People love them, and they don't want us to cut them. But when they're in the right of way and they're causing safety problems, we need to cut them. So that's how we've handled it, and I think brush in our rights of ways is actually pretty good. We do a good job, I think, of cleaning the brush. But the state highways, especially a lot of these lower traffic, non-NHS routes like 47 that you mentioned, they need to have brushing. And I remember clearly asking them before their resurfacing project here a few years ago on 47, can you include clearing and grubbing of the trees to restore the right of way? To restore sight distance, but it was too late in the planning to do it, so they didn't do it. And it's hard to do it from a maintenance perspective because it's a big job. 47 has gotten so grown up that it's a major job to go and do those trees, which that's why it's best to do it under contract with a contractor that can come in and do it. But I'll continue to make that plea to MnDOT to keep their right of ways clear.
And any support you need from the board too, John, just let us know. In terms of a letter or whatever. Commissioner Sample?
First of all, I understand cutting trees in the right of way. When I was on the township board, boy, people really complain. I just had a question for Sheriff Gaida. what he thought of these safety, what we're doing here. I mean, I think it's a great thing, and we're trying something new, but being the public safety, if he had any comments.
Yeah, the roundabouts have slowed people down on those intersections and helped. The narrowing of lanes is something that I haven't thought about or heard about, so good for John for looking outside the box a little bit. I do think in order to make a program like that work, you have to have the metrics. So I don't know if you could put cameras up, John, prior to construction and post-construction for a similar period of time to see if we're actually making a difference. Maybe even do a camera with a radar type scenario, you can see people slowing down. That might be something to help capture some of that data, but I'm open to try. It's not gonna cost anything more or anything less. I mean, it sounds like a great deal.
Especially if this is like setting the standard, that all the data we can get to show where it's public safety.
There are some cameras out there, John, that they'll record speed and everything, so, I'm sure the state has one, but that might be a good way to capture.
Yeah, at one time we were, there's an annual solicitation for the Highway Safety Improvement Program where we can solicit for safety projects. And earlier, that deadline is always in November of each year. So prior to November of last year, the MnDOT traffic engineer and I were in contact with the folks that manage that program. This isn't one of their listed strategies, obviously, because it hasn't been done. So we just talked to them to ask if it was something that they would fund if we submitted a HSIP application for it, and they were interested in it. And that, that's where they brought up the idea of, if you do this, we'd like to, make it into a research project, see if we could put up some cameras, collect some data or whatever. So, yeah, I think there's interest in doing that. I guess we haven't, we've got some work to do if we're gonna collect that data between now and when this construction happens. I did want to mention the cost of this project. We've got it estimated at $115,000 to do this on 4 legs. So, it's costing probably around $30,000 per leg. And that's a high cost, but, it's a high cost just because it's new. We're not incorporating it with other work. If it did prove to be something that was used more widespread, those costs could come down if you include it with bigger contracts, do it as part of resurfacing, whatever, as opposed to bringing all this equipment in to just do this on these 800-foot short pieces. So the cost is substantial, but I guess I'm interested in trying it and just seeing what happens, seeing what the public's reaction is. It's fatal crashes are so random, and you never know where they're going to happen. We never used to have a problem with County Road 11. Our problems were County Road 3 and County Road 10. All of a sudden, we did everything up there, although we did everything in terms of, preventing those type of crashes, although they continue to happen. But now all of a sudden, County Road 11, the last 2 summers has been our bad intersection. And next year could be a different intersection. You just never know where those crashes are going to happen. So it also makes it difficult to collect data, because how will you know if this is a success? I mean, it's very likely that intersection wouldn't see a bad crash for the next 10 years. So just if we do this and we don't see a crash for 10 years, it doesn't necessarily mean that it was due to this. It's just a matter of how you analyze the data. But we'll talk about collecting data and analyzing the data to see, and there's a chance that that it won't work. That'll some unforeseen circumstances will come up, or some unforeseen consequences will come up, and it won't work, and it'll go down as something that we tried but didn't work. But I guess we want to try.
Save one life.
Right.
What do you put for a dollar amount on a human life? That's my big thing.
And even non-fatal crashes.
Yeah, look at County Road 2 and Highway 47 and 18. How many crashes have there been there? And MnDOT hasn't, we're not going to do anything. Well.
Yeah, and the crashes are different. I mean, a lot of places the crashes are just caused by a lot of congestion, a lot of movement, you know, just people choosing bad gaps and making bad decisions. But, you know, that's what's so unique about these crashes, where people just blow through, you know, close to a dozen warning signs, blow through a stop sign and cause a crash. You know, that just seems to be something that shouldn't happen. And it seems to be something that's preventable. So we're trying to find what that something is that will prevent it. You know, I think it really speaks to just how bad our distracted driving problem is, because I can't come up with any other explanation for these other than drivers being totally distracted. And the interesting thing is the last three, I believe, fatal crashes that we've had of this type of crash, have not only been a driver in the vehicle that ran through, but there's been passengers. So we're talking about not only distracted drivers, but distracted passengers that, you know, don't realize that there's a stop sign, and, you know, maybe giving the driver an indication that, hey, aren't you going to stop for that stop sign? So the distracted driving is just a huge problem. I don't know that it's gotten any better, you know, in the years since we've implemented the distracted driving laws. And I think, you know, what we're seeing here with these crashes that are caused by, you know, vehicles blowing through stop signs at full speeds, I think that's how the distracted driving manifests itself.
John, in anticipation of public questions, comments, would you have a diagram or a sketch you could, of what this would look like, send out?
Yeah, certainly. I mean, we have a 8-page construction plan that shows all the detail, but, and maybe that would be something good to provide, to send out, just so you can see what it looks like on paper a little bit.
And that way, when we get questions, well, we can give an illustrated example that, you know, this is what it.
I mean, it like I said, it's fairly simple. That just as you're approaching the stop ahead sign, you know,
narrows.
the lane will start to narrow.
Like a cattle chute.
About 200 feet past the stop ahead sign, you'll be on a 10-foot wide lane with a rumble strip immediately on your left, a rumble strip immediately on your right, with, you know, 6-inch yellow and white paint on both sides. And, you know, that's really the catch that we're hoping, you know, that if someone isn't paying attention, that's a pretty narrow area to try to just navigate through by chance if you're distracted. So we're hoping that, you know, those rumbles will catch them, and
It's an
still be enough
interesting
time
concept.
to give them time to stop.
Very definitely worth trying. Commissioners, any further?
With that being said, I'd make the motion to approve this.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Sample, supported Commissioner
Second, you bet.
Westerlund to support the addition to the highway projects. Any discussion? We'll call it. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion's carried. The revision in the 2026 highway contract schedule is hereby approved.
And thanks for thinking outside the box, John.
Yeah, big time. Contract award.
Yeah, second item, contract award. So the Department of Natural Resources has a program. It's called the State Park Road Account Program. They get money annually through the Highway Users Trust Fund. What that money is to be used for is improvements on public roads that lead to public recreation facilities. So in most cases, that means a wildlife management area parking lot or a public lake access. So Aitkin County, we have applied for these funds over the years. Just last year, our resurfacing of County Road 14 leading to Savannah Portage State Park was done under a grant through that program. But townships also have access to these funds, and the DNR solicits annually for projects. There's been a number of projects done by townships over the years with this grant program. Farm Island Township, Hazelton, Glen Township are probably the recent ones to get grants through this program to improve their township roads that lead to these public recreational facilities. So the latest one is Malmo Township. A few years ago, Malmo Township applied for a grant to this program. They wanted to improve and ultimately pave 2 miles of their roads that lead to the Sugar Lake public access off of Highway 47 just south of Glen. they were successful in receiving that grant. So even through the application process, my office is involved. By statute. We have to be involved because the money flows through my office. So I was aware of the project when it got awarded. As we always do, we talk to the townships and, just kind of set out a plan for delivering the project. We always make clear to the townships that they're going to have to do some engineering. They're going to have to, do enough engineering on the project to submit a plan for state approval, and then go through the whole, all of the bidding requirements and all of the construction requirements as part of that grant. And we offer our services to do all that engineering to the townships. We make it clear that they don't have to go through us for the engineering. They can hire someone else to do the engineering if they want. Even in the case that they did that, though, the money would still flow through our office and would still be involved to a certain extent. But every project, I think, that's been done in Aitkin County, with the exception of maybe one down in Hazelton Township, that was a joint Hazelton and Garrison Township project. But otherwise, every project funded under this program in Aitkin County, we have done the engineering for. And Malmo Township, when we talked to them after they received the grant, they also wanted us to do the engineering for their project. So we've been working on that engineering, and we are we were able to get a state aid approved plan earlier this year. We opened bids on this project this past Tuesday, February 17th. We, once again, second week in a row, we received a good number of bids. I believe we received 7 bids. Yeah, both projects we received 7 bids. This time the low bid was from Casper Construction, Grand Rapids. We've worked with Casper before on these type of projects. They're very capable of doing the work. Our estimated cost was $955,663. Their cost was $953,000. So
That is the
0.3%
closest I
below
think
our
I've
bid.
ever seen.
Yeah, that one was close. So we would like, let's see, I was going to say we would like the standard award resolution, but we've changed this in discussions with Administrator Menke. We are no longer going to do resolutions for awarding bids. We're just going to do that by motion. So I guess what we're asking for is a motion as it's outlined here on the agenda request. Be it resolved, Casper Construction Incorporated be awarded contract 20263 in the amount of $953,000, and the chairperson of the Aitkin County Board and the Aitkin County Administrator authorized and directed to enter into a contract on behalf of Aitkin County upon presentation of proper contract documents. So just asking for that motion.
Commissioners, you've heard the recommendation. Do we have a motion?
I'll make that motion, Mr. Chair.
We have a motion on the floor to set effect for approval by Commissioner Sample. Is there support?
A couple questions.
We need a support. I will second the motion for purposes of discussion.
Thank you.
Commissioner Westerland?
So, John, I still don't understand why. I mean, how many cars and boats can you fit at the Sugar Lake access? I mean, reasonably, so people can get in and out. I mean, I just can't believe this is happening down there. And neither can a lot of the folks that actually live on the road, not off into the cabin area. So, I mean, I have to agree with this, I would think. I mean, I don't want to say no.
I think your question should be directed to the Malmo Township
Yeah,
Board. Again,
they don't-
all we're doing is engineering this
I know,
project.
and
They're the
they
ones that
don't-
decided to go for the grant. They're the ones that decided to put their local money into the project. They're the one that decided it was a need. I don't know. I mean, I've been through the Sugar Lake Public Access a few times. I'm guessing that there's, probably 5 or 6 vehicles can park there with boats. I'm not sure. But I think those questions just have to be directed to,
And they have been,
Malmo
but
Township.
They don't. They've already started. They've already spent money. So, I mean, I'm just saying, for the people that do not want this, were not included at all until way after. I mean, I'm talking 6 months after they got the grant. And it's mainly because they don't go to the meetings.
Yeah, and I guess,
So-
you know, like I said, I can't speak to what their planning process is. We have a very clear 5-year planning
know you
process. So any project we do, if the public says they haven't heard of it, well, they just haven't been paying attention for
Right.
4 or 5 years. What Malmo Township does for planning projects, I know they've been talking about this project for a long time. I've, you know, the
Talking.
various township supervisors have had this on their mind for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
What type of public process they had to, you know, to program this project, I don't know. I do know that they had a public meeting, you know, after they received the grant, just to kind of
Yep.
get public input and whatever.
Well, I don't know how long the road's gonna last with all the heavy equipment we drive on it. I mean, we farm, so, I mean, I'm just,
And
It's
I
really
think that
hard
was,
for me
that
to
was
see.
one of their concerns too, and they wanted to make sure that they ended up with a strong road, and we are, I mean, it is gonna be it's gonna be a strong road as long as, it probably still should be posted to 7 ton during the spring
and all the
breakup
trees
season.
we're gonna lose.
But, you know, if that's adhered to, I think we're engineering a road that should last for, you know, the standard 20 years that you'd expect a bituminous pavement
No
to
speed
last.
limit. Sorry. Okay. Call the question.
Okay,
Sad.
we're gonna call the question, or the question has been called. I'm gonna take a vote on whether or not to call the question.
Okay.
Parliamentary procedure, Robert's Rules of Order. All those in favor of, calling the question, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I would oppose. So, I just, wanna caution everybody that, due to the bare minimum quorum that we have, and according to the policies and rules, a vote has to pass on the majority of commissioners, present or absent, not on a quorum, if you see what I'm saying. So, one nay on this, the motion would fail. And if that be the case, the only other thing, I'm just throwing this out as an option, is to withdraw the motion until we have a full complement of commissioners. The question has been called. I'll ask for any questions, first of all, questions or clarifications. Dave, do you want to interject anything?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So if you wanted to defer a vote on the main motion, you could simply amend that with a motion that says something to the effect, I move to amend the motion to postpone to the next meeting action on the motion to approve the project. And if that passed by a 3-0 vote, then it would just be on your next agenda.
Lori?
That's fine. That, yes. I'll make that motion.
Well, we already have
Oh, we already have.
a motion.
So I need to amend it?
Well, if the,
Are you gonna vote yes or no?
Well, I don't think John really, I mean, I'm looking towards John. I mean, I don't want to say yes and I don't want to say no. I just can't believe this is happening and it's a tough decision and
so, Mr. Chair?
so I would.
If we're at the point where the main motion is back on the floor,
The main motion is back on the floor,
then if
the primary motion.
if the board does not want to take a definitive vote today, then an amendment by anyone would be in order to amend the motion to postpone either to the next meeting or to any meeting in the future if you didn't want to do it on March 6th, or the 10th, I'm sorry.
And the maker of the motion was Commissioner Sample. I would ask Commissioner Sample if you would like to yield to,
I'll yield it to Commissioner Westerlin.
you'll yield to the
County administrator?
county
To the amendment?
administrator's recommendation.
Yes.
And as a supporter of that motion, which I normally don't as board chair, but I did in this case, which I can, I will support as a friendly amendment to that motion.
So it'll come back on the 10th.
If you should then vote on the motion on the amendment.
And can you just repeat the motion as you are going to record it?
Absolutely. So Commissioner Sample made a motion to amend the motion to approve the project by postponing until the next county board meeting, which is March 10th, action on the project.
That is the current motion on the floor. John, is this going to hamper anything, this delay?
The only concern I have is that this project includes clearing of trees. And part of the permits for the project, there's a definite date by which those trees have to be cleared and can't be cleared. I think that date is April 16th. So in order for this project to be built this year, which is certainly, the intent, I'm sure the way it was bid, the trees have to be cleared by April 16th. So any delay just makes the time period that much tighter for the contractor. I think it's still doable. If hypothetically the project were to be awarded on March 10th, there still should be at least a few days once contracts get approved to get the clearing done. So I mean that's the only issue that I see, but I think it's doable.
Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll call the question. All in favor of the motion on the floor as stated, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion unanimously with the commissioners present.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much, John. On to Board of Commissioner reports. Commissioner Westerlund?
Yes. Lori had, let's see here. We had a community health board meeting last week at the highway department. We had a lot of discussions. It was our annual meeting. I got voted in as chair again, so lucky me, right? We're just having some little upheaval there that we're trying to take care of, with the CHB board, our director and our new PHP. I think that's what we call her. So we're working through those, and our personnel meeting also met in Grand Rapids the CHB meeting was 2 weeks ago, and then our personnel committee met to discuss and do a plan of action. It went very well with both folks that we were talking with. We're hoping that this all comes to a head here, and we're all back and working well together. A lot of miscommunication was going on, and it was a tough deal, but we made it. Fisheries was canceled. ACA, Association of Minnesota Counties, was online. I think Mike was on that one because he's the guy. And that's really all I had.
Okay, thanks, Commissioner.
Sure.
Commissioner Sample?
Well, we approved the things from the opioid committee on the consent agenda. AIS, we didn't have a meeting. We didn't have a facilities meeting. I got an airport meeting, an economic development meeting this week. And the only other thing I'd say is that at the Big Sandy Lake, that's gonna become a hot topic unless we get the answers from the Corps.
It is.
The Corps I did see this morning, I didn't have a chance to print it out. They sent me copies of the minutes from the township and the Lake Association. Ms. Fonshu emailed them to me, and I didn't have a chance to print them, but I will get a copy to all of the members of the board on what happened at that meeting. And that's what I got, Chair.
Okay, thank you, sir. The one meeting that we all had was a committee of the whole meeting, purpose of which was to discuss and explore a possible EMS taxation district. We had representatives from North Memorial, who covers the vast majority of Aitkin County throughout their 3 primary service areas. And a lot of discussion. North Memorial was represented both by local, regional, and statewide officials. They were very accommodating. And this was first of the likelihood of future meetings on this subject. That is all I have as well. Anything else?
I had care too. It was just basic stuff going on. Very busy trying to get stuff settled.
Are they getting closer to finding a location?
They are at Posh, over by Posh Studio, over by the old Weedery, by 40 Club.
Oh, yeah.
The Aitkin Care is there, and then there's a Palisade is in Palisade at the city building. So they got 2 locations. The 3 vans are busier than ever, and yay.
I would like to ask Sarah a question. How many openings does the 4th District have on? I noticed we filled one in Travis's district, one in mine today.
For Health and Human Services?
Yeah, and there's one more that was filled. I seen 3 names
Yeah,
on
I
there.
had talked to
A
a
1
couple
year,
people.
2 year, and 2 year.
District 1, 2 openings, District 2, 1 opening, and District 4, 1 opening.
So I got 3 on there because Liz is from my district. And then Mary just got appointed to it.
Yeah, so these are your only districts with openings, the other districts are full. So we have District 1 with 2, District 2 with 1, and District 4 with 1.
Okay, cause I'm District 4.
Yep, so you have 1.
I didn't know if I had 3 openings or 3 people on that committee or 2.
You have 2.
2, then I'm full. Liz
And Mary.
and then Mary.
You can have 3 per district, so you have 1 opening left.
Okay,
Yep.
that's what I was trying to get at.
Get on the phone.
Yeah, well, Mary that just joined, she sat on the state Health and Human Services Committee.
Yeah, we had a lot of applicants come through. I think we've got, 5 now?
Okay,
Yeah, that's good. I talked to a couple people, but
Being no further business, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
Commissioner Sample moves to adjourn. That motion supported by Commissioner Westerland. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion's carried. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone. We got personnel?
We do.